Vlad TV. I guess he's doing a full interview with Adam 22 and his beautiful, audacious wife, Lana the Plug. And I'm being facetious. Not that she's ugly, but I think it's kind of weird how we always talk about, alright, let me restart. I think what the word content on the internet has done is if you attach something being monetized, being able to be taxed because it's legal now, we don't call it the same terms if it was real life. Like if you go over to your friend's house and he's married to someone. Now, they do some freaky stuff, whatever. It's not even that he lets his wife do what she does because she did that stuff before they met. But the fact that it seems like you've entered a business to where now you can financially benefit from this. It kind of seems, let's just be honest, it's glorified pimping. But it's disguised as they're married. It's content. And he's obviously doing a lot of rage baiting stuff to make people upset, to call him a cuck and all this stuff. And yet he is probably making more money on her doing this stuff than he got before. Because he's using his name to elevate her name, which brings more money in, which means he can get a bigger cut of that. So he's literally getting a big cut, as she's getting a big cut too. He's getting a big cut of her doing X, Y, and Z with whoever at that point in time. It's glorified pimping. But since it's hidden as it's classified and it can be taxed. And it just goes to show it's only illegal when it can't be taxed. Because really there's no difference of this than if you were to go on the street and someone's pimping out a girl. But this is just a more massaged, this is a much more business savvy, as people will say. As long as, and even in the title, apparently brags, not she brags, but she talks about making $35K a month on Snapchat. Which apparently Snapchat is a very underrated revenue source for a lot of people. But we all know what the content's about. It's Lana the Plug. What do you think it's about? But it's just odd because I think a lot of people, they're sitting there calling them cucks and all this stuff. And to be honest, he seems like a glorified pimp. But because it's business, because they're married and he's kind of making a fool out of himself, when in reality, he probably doesn't really care or love her that much anyways. So to him, he's not really pimping out his girl. He's just pimping out a girl who is going to do the same thing anyways, regardless if he was in her life or not. It's not like he took a girl who had an honest job or was just regular person, didn't participate in this stuff, and then all of a sudden now, 2 years later, she's doing this stuff because of his influence or his association with it. And now, so now that's what it's kind of turned into. So it's just odd because it really is glorified pimping, but it's just it's a beautiful way of masking it. I don't know why, I could be wrong on that. I'm not educated on Adam 22 and his life like that. I'm aware of his show. I'm aware of his bankruptcy stuff, that anytime these rich, successful people talk about how they're bankrupt and stuff, you got to think just because someone's bankrupt, it doesn't mean they actually don't have money. It just means that business is basically futile. It's no different than with the B. Simone situation. Her talking about how, she doesn't have the same, it doesn't like, even if this investment were to go completely awry, she's going to probably be living in the same place she did before. But to her, it feels like the end of the world because of her reference point of what's been her life for a period of time. It's not as comfortable. And it's the first time numbers don't look as good as they did before. But she's going to be living a much better life than 99.999% of her fans are watching it. But she's going to have you believe that the way she's talking about it, she's going to be living on a beach somewhere. So, but nah, man, like, that's a weird thing with this. I've never been into Adam 22 like that. I've never understood why people who live that type of life would go on his show and basically out themselves and brag about it, knowing that with the history of him, Vlad TV, also an example, where they're coming on the show, they're getting promotion, but they're getting promotion that's going to hurt them more than anything.